Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Today we're going to talk about marketing and making a simple plan that works for you and your VA business, and why that's probably not what you think it is or what you think it looks like. Our quote today is from Phil Frost, and it is, "Success with digital marketing is the result of sound strategy, not perfectly executed tactics." What I like about this quote is that basically it says done is better than perfect, which is like a mantra of mine. We know, or we should know, that we can change our course at any time when things aren't going right. So it's not about getting it perfect before you send it out. It's really about get it out and then adapt. And while the sound strategy part is what we're going to talk about in today's episode, because I'm willing to bet that you are marketing your VA business wrong. Today, I want to talk about creating a simple marketing system that works for your VA business. So let's start at the beginning. What is marketing? Marketing is about creating digital communication that helps your VA clients get to know you and move towards working with you, with a few steps in between. And why is marketing so hard? Because we were never really taught how to do it, at least in our admin roles in our corporate jobs. And because there are so many options out there to use as marketing tools, we can get confused, right? And overwhelmed very quickly, trying to be everywhere and trying to do everything. Just like we tell our VA clients to outsource what they aren't good at or what they don't know how to do, we have to do the same thing with our marketing. To a point, basic marketing knowledge is important as a business owner. So if you don't know what you need to do and why, then that's what you need to learn. And that's what I'm here to teach you. And then there are some things that you can learn to do for yourself, and some that you may consider outsourcing as well. The thing is, you don't try to become a marketing expert if that's not the service you offer your clients. You know, I say it all the time. Don't learn how to build WordPress sites just to build your own WordPress site. It's not a good use of your time, your expertise, your money, anything like that, or your loss of revenue while you try and figure it all out. You want to get smart about what you're doing in your business. If you're going to be a marketing support person, then learn marketing. Other than that, we want to get some really simple things in place, and then we want to get help where it makes sense for us, right? The key is to get the marketing done and to understand why you're doing it and to be able to measure what you are doing. That is called planning. And so a simple marketing plan can help a ridiculously good virtual assistant like you clarify what you're intending to do, how to do it, and whether it's working for you as you start to work on it. The flow goes something like this: marketing goal, strategy, plan, action, analytics, sales conversation, client. Marketing doesn't just mean posting a few social media posts and then getting clients. You see all that stuff that I just talked about that was in the middle of that sort of string of things, the flow. Those are all things that need to be working correctly and working together in order to make sure that you reach the ultimate goal of finding clients. There are a lot of components to marketing. And if you weren't sure of this, try Googling marketing like I did, doing a little bit of research for this podcast episode, and you will see all the things that make up marketing. It is definitely a place for you to get confused and overwhelmed. So I'm trying to make things simpler for you. You're a virtual assistant. You need to market your business. I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can for you so that you do what you're supposed to do, but so that you're not overwhelmed and confused. I hope we achieve that today. So we start by setting a marketing goal. But what is that goal? Like I said, you're probably thinking it's to get clients, and ultimately it is. But there are all the other facets. There are all the other things that you need to have in place as well, and they all need to work together so that you can get the clients. And it depends what you already have set up where you're going to start. So I'll give you some examples of some marketing goals. And you'll see they sort of run in order. So build awareness. This is where you're going to let people know about you, about your VA business. Awareness is often called brand awareness online. So if you see that, if you're not all branded and everything like that, don't worry about it. It's still about awareness of you and the services that you offer to your clients. And that's the number one thing that you have to start getting out there. People need to know what it is you do and how you help your clients, right? And so that is often the very first step, is starting to tell people and how we do that. The second one is generating leads. You can have a goal to generate leads. Building your audience is a very important marketing goal. When you start to talk to people, you don't need a ton of people in your audience whenever you're working as a virtual assistant or when you are a VA, because we're still only going to work with the limited number of clients as a one-on-one, right? And so it is really important to understand that we don't need thousands of people on our mailing list or anything like that, but we do need to start generating leads. We need to, it doesn't necessarily mean, a lot of creating a freebie or list building or anything like that, but it does mean getting more eyes on your services and the content that you're going to create. So generating leads or getting people to notice you is definitely going to be another goal that you could set as a marketing goal. The third one is showcasing your expertise. And this is about showing people how great you are to work with, not just you know how to do things, but how you are an expert at whatever the services are that you're going to provide. And it's a real key to your success in marketing. Obviously, when people build their know, like, and trust into, of you, they will start to seek you out. And so showcasing what you know how to do and how obviously it relates to their business and how you can help them is going to be really important. And of course, you need to have an audience to show that to. So you see how things are starting to fit together. The building the awareness, getting the word out, generating leads, starting to get people to come to you, showcasing your expertise, really up leveling what it is that you're saying and doing, and the interactions that you're having, those kinds of things. But being able to showcase your how you support your clients, pardon me, is really essential part. And you can set a goal to showcase your expertise better. I find that whenever you chop your marketing into shorter, smaller goals, it's just more effective. And we'll talk really in detail about how we're going to do that with a good example here in this episode. But when you look at these little marketing goals, they're very important, and they're actually not small, but they're small in the scheme of things. So if you choose one of these, like if you want to showcase your expertise better, you can have a really good strategy to do that quickly, because that's the only thing you're focusing on. So I want to really get you to that point where that's what you're getting out of the simple marketing plan. Pick the thing you want to work on and then really focus on it and get some really good results from it. Increasing engagement is another goal that you can set in your marketing. And especially on social media, we don't just want to be pumping content out and scheduling things and never showing up and that type of thing. We are looking to be social. We're looking for engagement with what we put out there, and engagement with us too, not just our stuff, but actually with us. And that's why, creators on TikTok they will post something on TikTok and they will be there to correspond with their fans or their audience right away. And that's a really, really important part of the strategy there. So it's the same type of thing where when you're looking for interactions with your marketing, you want to build in what that means and how you can increase that with the stuff that you're doing in the places that you're doing it. When people know about you, the goal is to get them obviously to a sales conversation when the time is right. And sometimes that can take a while. It doesn't happen really, really quickly. Sometimes it does happen very quickly. I know even for me, I'll drop a few comments into some virtual assistant groups where somebody's struggling. Boom, I have a sales conversation or a discovery call, or I call them cut to the chase calls. And they are sales conversations, because if I have a conversation with somebody and they can benefit from some of my services or one of my courses or anything like that, my mastermind or my membership, I will tell them about it. Whether they buy it or not is not the relevant thing. And this isn't a sales conversation episode right now, but it's irrelevant. I want to tell them about it so that when it's right, the time is right for them, they will know about it and we will already have an existing relationship. So increasing engagement is really important. And like I say, you want to get them to that one-to-one phone call, and that's not always the number one thing. So there is a strategy that goes along with that as well, right? And then of course the last thing is generating revenue. And there are many other goals that you can set in terms of your marketing. But for me, it's the ultimate goal, right? I know that most VAs that I talk to, when I ask them what their goal is, it is to get clients and to generate revenue. And so the ultimate goal is to generate revenue. And we need to set up a strategy and a plan and that kind of thing that will lead us to that goal. And so it's clearly a common goal for a lot of VAs, but it's not the one that you should be starting with. Okay. Marketing does not start with generating revenue. It starts with all of those other little puzzle pieces. And so you'll see, as I've explained, these goals nest inside one another. So if you don't have one of the first ones, or even, the three first ones in place, that's exactly where you should be starting. And it doesn't need to take a long time. It doesn't mean that it'll take you a year to get a client. It's the more focused you are on the smaller goals, the more quickly you can achieve them. And I like to task my private clients to complete some of these goals in a week, or in 2 weeks, or whatever it is, whatever the goal is at the end. 30 days is usually max. So you can get through things fairly quickly when you're focused on it and it is the only thing that you're paying attention to, and the only thing that you're spending your time on. It's much more effective. In order to get clients, they need to know about you. You need to be building your audience. They need to see and understand how you can help them. That's really key. They need to reach out to you or react to you. And then you need to invite them to a sales conversation and sign them then, or build that relationship and do the follow up and eventually sign them. Easy, huh? It sounds easy, but really that's all it is. It's the client cycle, right? You go from all the way from the beginning of not knowing who, they don't even know anything about you. They couldn't possibly even know that they need you. And then you get to the end. So there's lots and lots of different components in between, like I say. So I'm going to work today with the first goal, to build awareness, start getting the word out about your business, your VA business. So how do we do that? The very first thing you need to do is choose your best service. And I know I task a lot of you with doing this, and you feel like you're leaving everything else out. But like I say, you can do whatever you want in your business, but marketing is completely different. Marketing is very targeted. And the better you do with your targeting and your choosing of the best thing, the quicker you're going to find the results. Okay. The more focused you can be, the better, because it means when you choose your service, your content, your conversations, everything is going to become more focused. You'll be talking about how you help your clients with this specific service, and that makes everything that you do cohesive. Everywhere that everybody looks for what they, when they're looking to do a little research on you, they're going to see exactly what you're talking about. And that is really valuable real estate. And in your networking, you have conversations with people. When you're talking about what it is that you are focused on right now, that is the thing that people will see when they look you up online, because they're going to search you, right? And you're also going to be able to be found in searches. Like if somebody goes to a Facebook group that you're a part of, an entrepreneur group, and they put in your services that you offer because you talk about them in the post that you're putting into that group, you're going to come up in searches. So it is really important. It's not just about Google. It's not just about your website or anything like that. It's when you start to do the littlest things, hashtags and all that type of thing, they're going to be effective for you. So it is really important to choose your best service, because you are going to be paying attention to that for a very short period of time. And then, you're going to gain some momentum with that. The second thing you need to do, and again, I get a lot of pushback on this, but I don't care because I know it works. So you need to choose your best client. When you know your best service, you can figure out who needs those services the most, who can afford you, who is a great client, whatever their values are, their core values, whatever their lifestyle is like, that type of thing. You can choose that person and you can target your marketing to that person. It is so important to make sure that that's what you are doing, because they're going to see you whenever you are a big sort of a big fish in a little pond as opposed to a little fish in a very huge pond. You want to get really, really clear on what you're doing and who you're doing it for. So, are you just doing social media, or are you doing community management for health professionals who own their own, who have their own Facebook groups where they provide their deliverables and services to their group coaching clients? That is a lot more specific than I do social media for entrepreneurs, right? The health and wellness professionals will find you in the groups where you're doing your networking. The words you use will be able to be used as searches, not just for you, but for the people who are coming in and looking for support. It's really, really important to choose those people who need you the most. And choosing a target, it will always feel limiting until you've done it, and then you're going to understand it, right? You'll get it because you'll realize it's such a smarter way to find a lot of clients who need the same type of thing. It makes your work easier. Imagine being a part of an entrepreneur group where there are a lot of health professionals, and you tell them that you run, large communities or you run small communities. It really doesn't matter, but you're the community manager for the Facebook group for all of these wonderful health and um, wellness professionals. I keep going to say health and wellness professionals. Other ones who are that, who want that, will see it in the group, and that is how you get yourself in front of more people, right? So when your clients are targeted and you can speak really specifically about how you help them and what you help them with, then you're going to 10x your results. I mean, really, really easily, because everybody needs the same types of work. It makes your work easier. It makes your marketing easier. So obviously you also have to know your rates and how much it's going to cost your clients to work with you. You should know your services and rates inside out when you start to market your business anyway. If you have not gotten that far, you need to do these three things. Choose your service, choose your client, but really know your rates and services inside out. Make sure that that's all set. You can't market something. I mean, you can, but if you all of a sudden get a client, you need to be ready to go, and you want to have really fruitful sales conversations or discovery calls. You don't want to be tripping over, I don't know my rates and I'm not sure how to charge. Get it all sorted out, and you're going to do a lot better whenever you do get the people responding to you. And only then can you start to plan your content. Planning your content is so essential. I have a content matrix that you may have seen. I'll link the exercise to the notes of this episode because it's a little difficult to describe. But if you sort of look at a grid, um, and there's four spaces across and there's four spaces down, and the way a matrix works is that you match up the four on the top and the four on the side, and so essentially what you get is 16 spots. So if you can sort of see that in your mind, that's what I'm talking about right now. And so planning your content with a content matrix is so makes it so easy. So if you choose four solid topics to create content about that are directly related, obviously, to your service offerings that you want to focus on for your marketing purposes, um, and then choose four angles to write about too. So talk about tips, or talk about strategy, or talk about money or education, or something like that. So, and again, I'll link the exercise so it makes more sense. But the matrix will help you create 16 different topics that you can easily write content about or create content about. And if you're talking about weekly blog posts, 16 of those is 4 months worth of weekly blog posts. So one content matrix that you can sit down and do in 5 minutes, I guarantee you that you can fill it in 5 minutes, because it's just that easy, because you're writing about your best service, you know about it, right? And so what is it that you're going to create content around? So 4 months worth of weekly blog posts. It's really, really quick, and it's really, really easy. And so yeah, remember that you're also going to be looking for quality. So when we are talking about creating any kind of content, after you plan it, then you have to create it. And once we do that, you want to maximize your efforts too by using great SEO, by researching your keywords, by using good hashtags where necessary, and basically making the content that you're creating work harder for you. And you always need to also include a call to action so your audience knows what you want them to do next. When somebody gets to the bottom of an article or the bottom of a post on social media, you need to tell them what to do next. Maybe you just want them to leave a comment. Maybe you want them to respond to you. Maybe you want them to go and look at something else. A call to action is just telling them what to do. It doesn't always need to be salesy in nature, but you're looking to get them to take an action. At the end, you say, now do this. And if it means go to, another thing that they can learn about, then that's even better. So whatever that is. And yeah, I'll talk more shortly about what to do with a blog post and how to get more traffic out of it. But essentially, that's what you want it to do. You want everything that you're doing to work as hard as it can for you. So it's not a one and done. Content is not a one and done. And that's why the matrix is such a good idea, because you can use it and then you can empty it out of the 16 ideas that you come up with, and you can fill it again with using the same 4 topics and the same 4 angles and 16 new topics, and boom, there's 4 more months worth of blog posts, right? Or videos or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. So it is really, really important to use the proper kinds of tools that can help you get things done well as also. And then the next steps are to promote your content on your social media channels, right? Whatever you create, make daily connections, and to be active with your networking. Like, this is the marketing plan, right? It's so simple. So you can see how many things are involved in just setting the business, the building awareness goal. I keep saying business awareness, the building awareness goal. That's our number one small goal that we talked about at the top of this episode, right? That's why marketing is so big and why we often do it wrong, because we're trying to do it all at once. But this stuff that I've just described to you is only about building awareness. And it's very effective because you're only focused on getting out in front of people and starting to talk about your business. Because, as I said earlier, I would bet that you're not doing that correctly right now. I know that I have periods of time where I'm not doing that correctly. And as initially, before I knew how to do it, I definitely didn't do it right. And so you want to get things right. You want to get through that first block, and then you want the next one that has to fit together to work, for everything to work properly. It's a few steps, but it's not hard, right? It is quite simple. And then the last piece of any goal is to track your results so that you can make changes to your plan and your actions. You need to see the results. You need to see that things are working. And if they're not working, then say, okay, what's falling apart? What am I not doing right? Or what is not, am I not in the right place? Am I not saying the right thing? And then you can make your changes. So you can't just set a goal and then in 30 days check it. You need to be checking it all the way along to make sure that you're making the progress that you need to be making. And these are called KPIs, which are key performance indicators. And you want to be tracking certain things as you are building your awareness. So what are good KPIs for this goal of building awareness? There, what do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, I think I have 4, 5 of them. It's a lot, right? A lot of things to track, but there are a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of variables. So obviously we track traffic. We're not worried about, how many friends you have and all that kind of thing, but it is important to look at the actual numbers of who is seeing what, right? You can look at Google Analytics, you can look at insights on Facebook, other social media platforms. Essentially, you want to see these things going up. Pinterest is a really good, place to market and that kind of thing. Not trying to give you more ideas, but if your people are there, it's a search engine as well as Google. So traffic is a good KPI to track. Referrals, these can include like people telling somebody about what you do. If you're hitting the right people and you're getting the conversation, people can directly refer you anytime. But also things like tags and mentions, shares on social, LinkedIn, all those kinds of places. Wherever you are doing your building awareness strategy, that's where you look for the referral KPIs. Connections. What about how many people are joining your communities, if you have any, or connecting with you, right, on any of your platforms? And who are those people, and are they actually good connections? I think that's, when you're looking to track connections as a KPI, make sure they're not bots, make sure they're not just people who are looking to follow you, but actual potential customers. And again, we're not talking about looking for thousands of people. We're just looking at building your credibility and your awareness about what it is that you do. Follow-up conversations. This is a very important thing to track as well. And I track every conversation that starts in a spreadsheet. That's the way that I maintain things. And it really helps you to go back and check in on people periodically to build those relationships, right? It's you don't want to rely on Messenger or Facebook groups and have to go and find conversations with people. It's very, very easy when you've had an actual conversation with somebody, even if it's a short one and you think it might go somewhere. You take their name, you put it into your Google Sheet, you say where it was. It was on LinkedIn, it was on Facebook, it was wherever, it was in such and such a group. I was at this networking event, and then the date. And then that way it's easy to find, and I usually put like, what was our last interaction? What did we last talk about? So it's not really heavy duty tracking, but it's about tracking those people. And I track them by month. So in January, I talked to this person. On February, it makes it really easy for you to find them. And then whenever you go back into another conversation with them, you pull them out of the January and you drop them into March, right? And into your follow-up sheet. It makes it really easy. That's an excellent KPI to track, because if you're tracking how many follow-ups you're making, you can see how hard you're working at achieving your goal. I think that that's really important, especially in terms of building awareness. Comments and interactions, a little bit similar to, it's kind of a bridge of referrals and your follow-up, right? You want to keep an eye on these as well. Who is commenting? Who is interacting? Who is maybe making a comment on something and they're not a follower of yours? You want to reach out and make a connection request with them too. And always respond if somebody puts something out there on a piece of your content, or even if you're commenting on somebody else's piece of content in a group or a question or something like that and you're answering it. You always want to make sure you respond, because that is how we build our own interaction, right? I always say the best way to get a referral is to give one first. Same thing with making comments. The best way to get comments is to start making them on other people's first. So that's really important as well. And the last KPI, I would say search results. And sometimes this is, a little bit harder to note, but especially if you don't have a ton of content out there. But when you come up higher in a Google search, or when you're coming up in the Facebook group searches like I was talking about earlier, it's because you're putting out quality stuff. I'll tell you a quick story about whenever I was having a lot of trouble getting found in Google searches for the things that I was writing about. And I was not using my SEO plugin well at all. And so a colleague of mine who's very, very good at SEO and digital marketing showed me what to do and told me, you really have to be maximizing this out. Like I say, make your content work harder for you. And so she showed me what to do, and we made a lot of changes. We put keywords in my posts, and we really filled out the SEO information at, the bottom that I was leaving blank all the time for a long time. This was a long time ago, but it was relevant. I had several years worth of blog posts that I just felt were not getting indexed properly. And of course they weren't. How's Google supposed to find something that I did a terrible job at, right? And so we got them all fixed up. And I very often come up in very high rankings in the Google searches now, because I've done my homework and I've made the tools that I'm using to create my content work better for me. And that's what you need to do as well. And you can see that if you're tracking that kind of KPI, not to say, ooh, I'm number one in Google, but you don't want to be, especially with AI and that type of thing now, or voice search, you don't want to be like the last person. You don't want to even be on page 2 sometimes. You want to be really close up there. And so all of this stuff I know, so those are the KPIs, right? And all of this stuff I know sounds like a lot. It really isn't. If it sounds like a lot, it's probably because you don't have any of the pieces in place yet. And I know that I'm still talking about just the very first small goal and talking about a marketing plan for that small goal. But I want you to understand how the little systems that you can put into place easily for your business will really be more effective for you. And once you get one started, you move to the next step. You already have some of the stuff in place, right? Like, it's a regular, repeatable, very simple process that it will help you achieve that goal that you want to get your business to get your business in front of potential clients. You're being really targeted about it. You're being really clear about it. And that's what you want to get to. And then you get to move on to the next stuff, right? And so you want to also automate what you can. and then you systematize what you can't. And then you don't have to spend much time at all each week implementing something like this. And like I said, building that awareness can happen really, really quickly. You could set easily a 21-day goal and just really be clear about it and really be targeted about it. And you can definitely see some results from it. So here's what it could look like, as I was talking about earlier. You take that one of your 16 weekly blog posts, and you're going to use the content matrix for that for your blog topic ideas. Again, I'll probably do an episode on the content matrix, although it's a little difficult to do without the visuals. So I will tag the exercise so that you can check it out and do it in the show notes here. So you want to take that blog post, and it doesn't have to be long, right? You don't have to do an 1800 word blog post. In fact, I highly recommend against it. Mine are 400 to 600 words. Plenty, 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 guys. It makes it a lot easier. And if you're talking about, if you're writing 1800 word blog posts and I'm telling you you can max, write 600, well, I'm telling you that you can break that one into 3. And so it really does make a difference in the speed of, at which you can create content as well. And so what you do then is you want to repurpose that content. You want to take that one article that you wrote, that one blog post, and break it into smaller pieces. Now, I tell the story that Gary Vee, he does one video every day. Yes, I do. It's a video every day. And his team breaks it into 100 pieces of content. I don't think I can do that with a $600 blog or 600 word blog post, but I can certainly break a blog post into at least 10 other pieces. And I bet you can too. I know you can, as a matter of fact. If it's quality blog writing and there's enough information in there, you can pull tips, you can pull quotes for images. You can anything that you say and it becomes a quote of yours, right? So you can quote yourself. It should pull out some advice or some information or a call to action or some statistics or something like that. There's always information in there that you can pull out, and you can pull out little teasers to say, did you know that this is a really important thing to do, blah blah, and you can link to it. Repurposing a blog post into smaller pieces still retains the same content and the topic that we've put together, right? So again, that focus is there when you're looking at one of those things from the content matrix. And here now are 10 pieces of content plus my blog post. So there's 11 using the same topic and content. And it's all a little bit different, but it all is interesting to your audience. And it's going to draw them in without doing any additional work, or a little additional work because you're repurposing it. But you're not having to reinvent the wheel by writing 10 more pieces of content. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then using Canva to do templates for images. I suggest doing 4 regular templates as well. Something that and again, if you're not good at this, have somebody make them for you, and then you just have to populate them. It's a way for you to be able to do your own stuff without having to do it, without having to be creative. And so being able to use the templates makes the images that you're going to create not take any time at all. And for Instagram, if you're marketing there, carousels are so important. Make sure that you have a couple of carousels that are easy to fill in, that you can change with your brand colors, or drop in a different arrow color or something like that. It makes it really, really easy, and so you can get things done really quickly. And for your connections, this isn't something that you can automate or schedule, really. I mean, it's about you connecting with people. So you really do need to find the time to do it, but you don't need to spend hours and hours doing it. You can book 20 minutes a day. It's more than enough time. Actually, I book 15, and it's really, really handy. It really makes me focus on that time, right? I put my phone away, I have all distractions gone, just grab my cup of coffee or tea and just sit down, put a timer on for that 20 minutes so you make sure you stop yourself. But you can talk to a lot of people. You can answer a lot of questions and comments in a 15 or 20-minute period of time in some groups and get that visibility going for you, get that awareness of what you do in front of a lot of people in a very short period of time. A tracking sheet, obviously, for your interactions as well. That is the follow-up sheet that I was talking about. But any kind of interactions, whatever you're doing, you want to track everything, right? But I can't overstate being able to take your follow-up or your interactions, and put those into one place where you, because it helps you streamline that process, right? That little procedure that you're doing every single day, that you go and you look at those and who do I want to reach out to today? Because maybe you're going to go back to a Facebook group that you're networking in. You're not just going to scroll to see who posted what today and is there somebody asking for a virtual assistant. You can go to the list of people that you've connected with in that group before and see what they've posted recently, right? Go back and check on them. See what else they're asking about. Maybe it doesn't say virtual assistant this time. Maybe they're telling somebody about an event that they're doing, or maybe they are talking about a success that they've had. You can build your relationship with that person simply by searching for them that day. There's lots and lots of things that you can do that are marketing and that are relationship building at the same time. So you want to make things for as simple as you can for yourself, and definitely hold yourself accountable to do the small daily action every day. 15 or 20 minutes, you can always fit that in. Absolutely every one of us has 15 or 20 minutes every single day. And so you get into that habit, you get into that routine, it becomes a really reliable system for your business, and it's going to move you forward. And if you're only doing this for 30 days, then just do it for 30 days and see the results that you're going to get, okay? And it helps you become a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Haha. And at the end of all of this, like I just taught you a marketing process, right? And for a very small goal, you can actually help your clients do the same process to their business afterwards. And you've become a little bit of a marketing expert, haven't you? So it is really important. Like I say, you don't need to know everything about marketing. You don't have to be super creative. You don't have to know all the strategy or anything like that. But a little process like this, then you move on to the second one and you do the second one. What was the second one? Let me scroll back in my notes to find it. So we have building awareness, we have generating leads, showcasing expertise, increasing engagement, generating revenue. Those were the ones that I talked about in terms of things that are really important for a marketing strategy. So once you get one of those done, then you do another and another. And then you can help your clients do the same, because you can tell them the value, you can tell them the ROI that you have gotten from doing these things, because you will see it when you do it correctly and when you do focus on doing it every single day. But don't try to do everything at once. I think that that's our key, and that's my key in breaking it up into these little tiny, they're not tiny, but these smaller pieces for you. They're more digestible. It makes it more simple, and certainly it helps you with your focus. What is the end goal? The end goal is still to get the clients, but you want to make sure that you go through each of these little modules first, or whatever, however you want to think of it, however your mind works. Mine's very linear, so that's the way it works for me. And by breaking things down and focusing on just the one goal at a time, you are going to get the better results, because you're going to be more focused and you're going to be a lot clearer on what you're doing. The daily actions I'm going to keep talking about, because it always, always works. Make sure you set a start and a stop time at 15, 20 minutes. Don't let yourself go longer than that, because that's when we start to get rid of our routine, right? The system is really, really important. And tracking the results obviously is super essential, because you need to know what's working so that you can do more of that. You want to do less of what's not working, but you want to change what's not working and fix it. So if you don't know how to fix it, that's when you know that you can ask someone for help. It's going to work for you, I promise. And if it doesn't, then that's when you reach out to me, say, Tracy, I used your system and it didn't work, and we will go through it together, and I'll make sure that I didn't miss something in the translation. I really want to help you get this done. And so that's why I'm sharing it today on my podcast. And so after you are building awareness, the next thing you want to do is start to grow your audience, right? This becomes about creating a Facebook group of your own, or finding more networking connections someplace. It's about getting in front of as many of your target clients as you can. And now that you know you have great content, you know that they're going to love your content, because you're very clear on what you're writing, and or what you're creating, and who you're creating it for, and what you're creating it about. So lead magnets and building a mailing list, all of those things will be part of your goal of building your audience. But that's for another episode. I'm not going to get into that one in this episode today. I may go through all of those small goals, actually, or those smaller marketing goals in some episodes. I think if you find them helpful, then please let me know. I definitely want to make content that you are interested in. And then if you need help figuring out what you need to do for your marketing goal, or which marketing goal that you need to start working on right now, you can, of course, reach out to me at tracy@yourvamentor.com. I have helped hundreds of VAs through their challenges, and I've gotten them on their way to the next thing. And I would love to do the same thing for you. I do private coaching, and my new mastermind, the Virtual Circle, registration is open now. We are officially starting in January, but registration is open now. And maybe one of those options is right for you. That's all I've got for you this week. Thank you for tuning in to learn how to become a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Ridiculously Good VA Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For more great resources for your VA business, visit my website at yourvamentor.com. I'll see you back here next time.